This is it! We found the reason! Do the ratings of anime determine its popularity? Can we find a correlation to prove this? And if not, what are the reasons behind popular anime that do not have positive ratings? These are the questions that we will be getting to the bottom of in this video. I will be going through as much data and information that I can tolerate in order to uncover the truth behind why I like ReZero so damn much. A lot of these questions may be obvious, but there's a little part of me that thinks that I'm onto something, and I want to get to the bottom of it. So before we get into this, I will make my hypothesis. What I think is obvious is that an anime with incredible ratings will be popular because it is undeniably good. But I also believe that popularity of the anime does not correlate to the ratings. Therefore, it is the popular characters that will make an anime popular despite its quality, ratings, or even public opinion. For example, the first thing that comes to my mind is Darling in the Franxx. Awful anime, but amazing and popular Zero 2 that carries the show's popularity. This brings us to another question. Are anime characters popular because the anime is popular? Or is the anime popular because the characters are? I will take you on this journey, and by the end of this video, we will have answered all of these questions. But before we get into how I'm going to determine the popularity of anime and the respective characters, please remember to hit that like button or comment down below what you think. Subscribe if you're not, you don't want to miss these videos every month. Step 1 of this process is going to be gathering a decent sample size of anime that I can use for my data collection. I decided I would go through the top favorited anime on my anime list and AnyList. I believe that the top favorited anime is a great indicator of what's popular in the community because it is clear how these are ranked. This method of data collection is only going to include the people using these sites, which tend to lean more toward the hardcore anime fans. However, the large number of people that use these sites prove for respectively obtained information. We will also attempt other methods to include more casual fans later. Additionally, I believe we should see the top favorited anime correlate closely to the top in popularity. In order to obtain the ratings for these shows, I will use the ratings on Mal and AnyList to take the average between both, as these two are the most popular sites and the ratings will be subjective no matter how you look at it. Then, in order to narrow down the anime, I decided that I would not include anime that were released before 2010, as that would give the anime a longer time to grow its popularity and rise in its rankings. Additionally, I would not include anime that have over 100 episodes for a similar reason, as it would rise in popularity with sheer exposure alone. I only included anime TV shows, so there would be no movies or OVAs present in my data. I also decided for anime with multiple seasons, I would be taking the highest ranks across all seasons. With all that said, through over 150 of the top favorited anime on my anime list and AnyList, I have come up with a solid 53 that fall within my conditions. So, while gathering the data, without any analysis yet, something that immediately stuck out to me was that most second seasons or later seasons have higher ratings, while the earlier seasons are more popular with less ratings. Although large exceptions to this are when the later seasons are widely considered worse, like in Promised Neverland or Food Wars. Between both Mal and AnyList, I feel that AnyList numbers are more fair representations. Having been in the anime community for many years now, or at least the years in the anime I'm including in this data, it feels like the rankings in Mal are extremely skewed towards the bandwagon that there is to hate on a show, even when the hate is taken a little bit too far. Additionally, Mal seems to have more of a recency bias. This might explain some of the discrepancies between the two. But this is what happens when the data being collected is taken from subjective means, such as people's input. I will take the average rankings of these two sites and move on to a little more objective data. That is, I'm going to look at Blu-ray sales, Google search results, and Reddit communities for these anime to get more objective data of the popularity of these shows. Additionally, I will try to find the manga and light novel sales. Or so I thought. Obtaining sales numbers proved to be nearly impossible task, and even when the numbers were available to find, they were not at all a fair representative measure of popularity. The numbers provided were biased themselves based on the company reporting them. Many retailers did not even report these numbers. They are not transparent in their process of obtaining them, and thus, when they did, the numbers could easily have been skewed. Therefore, it would cause me more inaccuracy to include these, so I decided best not to. So for a more objective sense of popularity, I will use Google search results. This is admittedly a flawed measure of popularity for several reasons. In an attempt to make it as objective as possible, I will be using the Google search field for my phone on a newly downloaded Google Chrome app, not signed in and in incognito mode. I will also not be taking into account the amount of time it took Google to come up with these results, as I found this had more to do with the speed of the device than the amount of results that Google could find. I also put the term anime after each title in order to narrow the searches to just the anime and not any other parasites. I'm starting to see, based on these Google results, the anime that I would expect to be more popular based on pop culture and a more casual fan base watching them. Additionally, it is clear that the title of the anime that I choose to search will have an impact on the results for the title with very long names. I'm looking at you, Konosuba, God's blessing of this wonderful world. I decided to search with the name that is most common, so for example, I would use Konosuba or ReZero. Also be pulling popularity from the number of Reddit followers in each anime subreddit. I was going to take the total karma generated across all the seasons and releases in the anime. However, I decided not to use this as a measure because it became way too obvious that the numbers are higher the more recent the anime is, just because there are more users on Reddit now than there were before. With all of my data collected at this point, it is just a matter of organizing this data in a way that we can make sense and compare it. Okay, no matter what happens, if I learn anything from this adventure, it's that I have a couple more anime that I now know I need to watch. Using all of the information I acquired, I first organized the anime to be on a ranking and popularity scale relative to each other. I took the rankings of popularity from the anime sites as well as Google search results and Reddit to put them on a scale from 1 to 53, from most popular to least popular. Similarly, I did the same thing for the ratings of these shows from the average ratings between My Anime List and AnyList. I then created a graph that displays the ratings of the anime against the popularity. I chose a stacked graph in order to see the sum of the anime and popularity of the ratings. The blue linear graph is the anime popularity relative to each other, sorted from most popular to least. The red plot points are the ratings of each anime. Now right off the bat, we can determine that the popularity of the anime and the ratings they receive do in fact have a positive correlation. This is found by taking the slope of the trend line of the ratings, and because I stacked the graph, we need to subtract the slope of the popularity that it's graphed on. This comes out to be a positive number and thus a positive correlation, albeit a very weak correlation. This makes sense. Who wants to watch a bad anime? Except there are several reasons for this. Those same reasons being why their anime is held so highly in people's favorites despite their ratings being so vastly different. Now with the trend line of this correlation, we can find which anime do not correlate as closely as they should. Furthermore, the anime that fall below this trend line means they have higher ratings than other anime at their same popularity level. This just means that the anime is high quality content but did not receive as much exposure that it deserves. These are anime that if you haven't seen or only vaguely heard of, you should give it a chance. At least I know I will need to give some of these a watch. Now the anime that fall way above this trend line mean their critic ratings are a lot worse than other anime at their similar popularity level. These anime are ones that most people would agree they like, but are also bad, or dare I say, mid. I would be taking the anime that fall over a 15% error from this trend line and look into it further. There can be multiple different reasons for why anime is popular when it does not correlate to its ratings. But please just tell me one of these ratings is Michael Rem. Moving forward, let's look into these anime specifically and see if we can find more trends as to why this is. I will be going through the My Anime List and AnyList top favorited characters in order to see which of these top rated and most popular anime have the most or any favorite characters associated with. I looked at the top 250 characters of all time and added up how many of these characters are associated with each of these anime in my dataset. The reason I looked at 250 when I only went as far as 150 in the most favorited anime is because several of these anime had nearly 10 characters in the top 150. So I would need a larger sample size of characters to get a good variation of anime. But I will go one step further and be including the characters' place on the top viewed and top owned figures on my figure collection to get a deeper idea of the popularity of the characters from a consumer standpoint. For example, while Maho Shoujo has only one character placed in the top 250 on My Anime List and AnyList, it has the most popular figures by far of all other anime on the list. So if any of these anime have at least one character in the top popularity, I would believe that would be enough to explain its overall popularity ranking. But are these characters popular because the anime is popular? Or is the anime popular because the characters are? Well, considering all the anime included in my data are from the top favorites, it makes sense they almost all have corresponding top favorite anime characters. But since they do not all have high ratings, I believe it is safe to say that the characters carry the anime to popularity even when their ratings are poor. Thus, we can conclude that an anime is popular if the ratings are high, and if the ratings are poor, but the anime is still popular, then it must be due to the characters. But this does not tell the whole story. Remember when I said that while going through the data, I found that most anime scored higher ratings in the later seasons? Well, I decided to go back and look at differences between the ratings of the show from one season to the next. I found that very rarely do the later seasons perform worse in ratings. Likewise, the later seasons are usually less popular. That might be because the popularity goes down, there is less people to harshly criticize it. Furthermore, the viewers who did not like the anime would just not watch the later seasons and thus not review it negatively. This comes around and hurts the anime when the later seasons are actually worse. However, this is still not affect the popularity as long as they have that key factor. The key factor that is common in almost all of the top popular anime. The factor that holds even the anime that are much more popular than their ratings would like you to believe. This key factor is none other than anime titties. Nah, I'm just kidding. Kinda. Well, that does probably play a role. it's not as big of a role as I would have expected. Ultimately, my hypothesis in the beginning was correct, and as long as the anime has popular characters, it does not matter what the ratings say. The anime will hold its popularity through thick and thin, through decades of drought without a second season. Even when that second season comes and it's a flop, through backlash and endless repetitiveness, fans would be fans of what made an impact to them and the characters they were with along the way. Now, what exactly creates a popular anime character is an idea for another video. Spoilers though, it might be popular anime. But that's just a theory. An anime theory. This was a fun video. I had a good time looking through data of my favorite anime. I probably could have coded an algorithm to parse through the data for me, but this made it more personal. I did not use nearly enough anime to get accurate data points, but how far down the list of people's favorite anime are they no longer in the top however many? A lot of data out there is biased and difficult to retrieve, and I interpreted the data definitely biased myself. Either way, I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for the next one, like hitting that bell or something. I have another great analysis video coming up and I'm excited for you to hear it.